500,000 copies have been sold so far. His Leader's Bookshelf, which I'll feature on Twitter and LinkedIn here, is the must-read for your bored college brat at home this summer. But joining us to celebrate the third edition here, 2084, is James Stavridis. Admiral, thank you so much for joining us.
Good to be aboard, Tom.
You got 3 books out. You're like John le Carre or Neville Shute. You and Elliot Ackerman. 2034 is truly one of the most frightening books I've ever read, where China and the U.S. go to war. And then there's 2054. And in 2084, it's a whole new world after all. Is that where we're heading, given our military politics of 2026?
We ought to be very worried that we are. And that's exactly the point of all 3 books, Tom, is to go to the public and say, look, there are big challenges ahead of us. Great power war with China. 2054 is about artificial intelligence. 2084 is about conflict toward the end of the century. Look, we still have time to reverse engineer all this and avoid it. But the idea is to launch a cautionary tale in these 3 books. As
we launch this weekend, like you pick up your cell phone, Admiral, I can't imagine what it's like for you with your contacts. The USS Tripoli is in harm's way. How is our Navy doing?
I think we're doing exceptionally well. And here I mean not only the amphibious ships with the Marines, but more importantly in this conflict, the aircraft carriers, each one of them, 80 combat aircraft. We don't need anybody's permission to operate them. We're knocking down the enemy targets. That's the good news. The bad news is we have not made a great deal of strategic progress yet, but certainly our Navy is doing its job and doing it well.
Admiral, you know a thing or two about securing the safe passage of the high seas. Will the Strait of Hormuz ever be open like it was 3 months ago?
I think it will be, because it must be. And that sounds like a tautology, but it's true. We cannot, we the world, we the global economy, we the United States and our allies, we can't simply turn this thing over to the Iranians and have them charge us an toll. No way. We have to fight to open it if we do. And if we can accomplish it diplomatically, putting economic pressure, fine. But yes, that strait will be open. Final thought, I've sailed that strait close to 100 times in command and as a junior officer. It's tough navigation when you're before you get into drones attacking you and sea mines. So there's going to be a lot of work to do to get it open, but it has to be opened.
Yeah, Admiral, I mean, I think I speak for most just lay people. We didn't realize how narrow that strait is, and you see some of the footage. I don't know how you people put those big ships through there, and much less the big oil tankers, but it seems like anybody with a Boston Whaler or an RPG can shut down that strait.
Indeed, and so it requires real effort militarily to maintain it as an open seaway, and I think we're going to have to push our European colleagues to come throw in with us. We're not asking them to drop bombs over Tehran, but they can participate with us in reopening and keeping the strait open.
Admiral Stavridis with us, of course, his work at CNN is noted, writing for Bloomberg Opinion. 2084 is the book we're celebrating. I'm going to give you a pro tip, folks. Read 2034, read 2054, then read 2084. It reads like John le Carre. So there's a memo here on page 108, Admiral, from the Republic of Greenland. Julia had alerted her colleagues at the UN the Chinese fleet was descending the Mississippi into the Gulf of Mexico. Okay, that's the fear that's out there and the cacophony of the Trump Pentagon. What is your contacts at the Pentagon say about a military that can run business as usual?
Highly difficult, very, very challenging. But, by the way, in the book, 2084, the Free Republic of Florida, broken away from the United States, is involved. And you'll be pleased.
That's with President Ken Griffin, right?
Yeah. And don't forget, there's Camp DeSantis, where the forces are operating from in 2084. But in the Pentagon today, I'll take you back where we started the conversation. Is our Navy ready to fight? Are they fighting? Our Air Force, our Marines? Yes. The question is, can we get diplomacy and economics affixed to those military capabilities? If we can solve this.
Admiral, to the extent we want to solve this, what form do you think that takes here? Because I'm not sure some of the major objectives have been achieved, i.e. the regime is still there, the uranium's still there. If you don't have rockets today, you can make them in a year or so. I don't know. Where do we go?
2-point peace plan. Number 1, open the strait. Number 2, provide some level of economic relief to Iran. That's something for both sides. Put the nuclear discussion in a sidecar to be negotiated in the future. And then here's the key point. Over time, 2 to 3 years, we help build a resistance inside Iran, like we built the French resistance in World War II. That's how the regime falls, not because of bombing.
What is it? And I go back, Admiral, to your service in Brussels at NATO. What is the thing about Iran we most get wrong? Vali Nasser has that wonderful 1 volume out on the history of Iran through 1979 and all the war, the horrific Iraq-Iranian war. What's the thing we get most wrong about our study of Iran, Admiral?
We don't understand how they see themselves. And we think of them as this kind of annoying mid-sized power in the Middle East. That's not how they see themselves, Tom. They see themselves as the inheritors of the Persian Empire from 2,500 years ago. They truly believe in that kind of destiny. And I say this as a proud Greek American. It was only the Greeks who finally stopped them at the edge of Europe 2,000 years ago. That's the mental map they hold. And until we understand that, we are going to have a great deal of difficulty dealing with them.
And your study of Greece within the leader's bookshelf is absolutely extraordinary. Admiral, one final question, if I can. This Navy needs to heal after President Trump in some way. How does that happen the day after whatever the next inauguration is? How does a Navy, how does a Pentagon move on after President Trump?
Here's the good news. Our military over centuries, literally, has had dissonance with its political leadership, but the qualities of our armed forces, honor, courage, commitment, they transcend the day-to-day politics. I'm very confident that our Navy and our other services will hew to their professionalism and move on to the next administration. 3
short, wonderful, incredibly difficult fictions by Ackerman and Stavridis, 2034, 54, and just out this week, 2084 as well. I can't say enough about the shock. It was my book of the summer a number of summers ago, 2034, and Ackerman and Stavridis. Do it again, 2084. Whatever your politics, just read it. What did he say in the Republic of Florida?
Yeah. That makes sense.
That makes sense.
Texas, too.
I guess so.
Yeah.
We'll have to see. James Stavridis, thank you so much. Admiral Stavridis.